Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today's episode, I want to talk about how my daughter's leukemia diagnosis actually allowed me to shift my mindset about my business and to become a better business person. So this is going to be a pretty loaded episode in my opinion. First things first, a leukemia diagnosis is a very hard diagnosis to get. Obviously, when you hear something like that, you're completely thrown for a loop. And I will never forget the day when our doctor came in and gave us the news, and the first word out of my mouth was, "What?" Just like that, what? And it's difficult for you to wrap your mind around because you're like, no, my kid is so completely healthy. How could that possibly be? And then you go through it and you're like, oh, wow, they were right, And so what this leukemia diagnosis has allowed for me to do as her mom is to implement all of the tools and techniques that I learned through my NLP certification in my own life. And so I'm sitting and recording this podcast because today, actually, it wasn't just today. It was probably weeks ago when I first started talking about this topic with my mentor. I realized that I am walking evidence. I'm literal proof of how you can change your mind around something and you can shift your perspective around something. And it's going to allow for you to skyrocket yourself and your potential when it comes to literally the hardest of things in your life. Because whether you want to accept it or not, life is going to continue lifing, and there's no way for you to remain toxically positive around it. That's life. These things happen, and it would be so wrong to say that I manifested that for myself. Granted, don't get me wrong, there were a couple of thoughts that I had when I saw a billboard about children's cancer, pediatric cancer. And there was a thought where I was like, oh wow, I'm so grateful we are lucky and we have a healthy family. And that was not too long before the diagnosis, right? Now, I did not manifest the mutation to happen within her bone marrow. I did not manifest that, okay? When we think of manifestation, it's the manifestation by definition is the physical, you're bringing it into the physical reality. Now, I cannot manifest that for her. However, if she is in a state of dis-ease, okay, her discomfort is going to manifest itself as dis-ease. Now, when we think of that and we hear that, it's a loaded gun, because you could say, oh, well, they manifested that onto themselves. I wouldn't go there. I don't think anybody would ever want to manifest something like that onto themselves. And when we think of the treatment and what you have to go through and what you have to endure when you're going through the cycles to get better, nobody wants to go through that. And nobody wants to go through it personally. Nobody wants to go through it as a parent. I can assure you of that. I did not manifest this on myself. Maybe her discomfort manifested itself as that mutation. However, whether you want to sit here and negotiate the philosophical idea of it or not, it happened. And it's a hard thing. And it is okay to feel emotions and certain things and to ask certain questions. However, it is not okay to stay there. Because when you stay there, then what you do is you're allowing yourself to become comfort and to become realized to that place. And we want to move out of that place. And so through utilizing subliminals, through utilizing masterful language patterns, I have done quite a lot in my own life as proof and evidence to change the way that we talk about her diagnosis and the way that we behave and act through her cycles of treatment. And so how has that helped me through business? Well, it's made me realize that I am my own potential. I create my potential. And for the longest time, I was floundering and allowing for myself to flounder because something was taken away from me. And what is that perspective? What is that mindset? It's the victim mindset. And staying in the victim mindset was not getting me anywhere in business. So this particular diagnosis has allowed for me to see that if I can implement it in my actual real life, where I'm literally in the hospital almost 24/7, then I can implement this in my business and I can change the trajectory of my business and I can create the business that can sustain my family and I can take the actions necessary because nothing is harder than what I'm going through on a personal level right now. And if I can implement it on a personal level, then I can absolutely implement it on a professional business level. Now, when I say professional, I'm not talking about, LinkedIn, absolutely in a suit and tie professional. I mean, as a CEO, I can show up as a business owner and I can take those actions. I can change my messaging. I can make those decisions. I can hire that team because I am capable of changing so much. I have control over certain things. And I think that's another huge part of what's come out of this diagnosis as well. There are things that you can control and there are things that you absolutely cannot control. Nobody can control that this was her diagnosis. I can't control that. What I can control is how we manage and how we deal with her symptoms through her cycles of treatment. I can control how we talk about it. I can control how we act. I can control whether or not we go for a walk or if we eat food or whatever. We drink water. Those are things within my control. I can control what time we go to bed, right? There are so many things that are in my control, and by going through this experience, it has allowed me to basically build up evidence within myself that it's entirely possible to take all of that into business. There are going to be things that I can control in business. I can control my messaging. I can control how consistently I'm posting. I can control who I'm talking to and what, who's a part of my community. What I cannot control is if somebody decides that they're ready to buy. That's not within my control. So this whole entire experience has actually been a huge blessing in disguise because it has allowed for me to really build up quite a resilience within myself that I otherwise wouldn't have visibly seen, I think is the best way to say it. Because sometimes we need to be able to see evidence and to see proof for us to be like, oh yeah, that is possible. Because what that does is it helps us to get our belief system, our subconscious mind on track and on board. So I wanted to share that with you in today's episode because it's been something I've been talking about with my mentor for quite a while, and I feel like the real life implementation does not get enough credit for people who do implement in real life. So if you are taking these tools and these techniques and you are implementing them, whether it's visualization, reframes, self-hypnosis, subliminals, if you are taking these tools and you're implementing them in your life, you're doing the work. Like, you're doing the thing. And it's just a matter of time. And there will be a day where you turn around and you look at all of the things that have transpired and you go, oh, wow, I have been doing that. I am doing it. There's proof. There's evidence here, and I see it. And what happens when you see your proof and your evidence? Your confidence level in yourself skyrockets. So I just wanted to put that out there, because the more that you can see that, and the more that you can experience it, the more confident you're going to feel, and the more you are going to reinforce your ability to take action in your business, to make sales, to put out, content, messaging, marketing, whatever. So I wanted to cover that in today's episode, and I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to encourage you to leave a review if you have not yet already. And I want to say, like, a genuine good job. Good job for doing the thing. Good on you. It's hard. Like, this shit's hard. And that's okay. It's okay to take a good frame of mind into hard things. Hard things come up in life, and you cannot control that. That's a different topic that I think I kind of want to cover on a podcast too. I think I'm going to have a guest episode for that one now that I'm saying it out loud. Just to kind of build up your, I can't wait to listen for the next episode. So, okay, I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you on the next podcast.